All right, welcome to the channel. New setting this week. I'll say that right at the beginning. We're in Pirate Studios in Liverpool. I haven't fallen out with Studio 5 or anything like that. I had a discount code because I used to rehearse in here in the band, so I thought I'd come in here and use it for cheap. But yeah, I'll say at the beginning because there is a bit of bleed from the other rooms. I can hear very loudly other bands going on. I'll try and be creative with noise reduction, but you might hear some extraneous noise. So this week's video, we're going to look in more detail at this, my Epiphone Les Paul Custom Pro 2014, made in somewhere. It's been on a couple of the videos recently, and after kind of a relatively good reaction for my channel, at least, of the Squire Jag video, I thought I'd have a look at this in more detail. So that's what we're going to do. Another thing just to say really early on, because I always forget to say this and often even forget to mention it in the comments or anything. If you can like the video, if you can subscribe to the channel or drop me a comment, it will really help kind of the video online. I'm not kind of pushing for 100,000 subscribers or anything like that, like you might see some people doing. I'm pushing to make it to 100. Full stop, three digits. So if you're not subscribed, please do. If you even just want to click the thumbs up, it'll help the video. So let's move on and talk about the guitar. So it's obviously a copy or Epiphone's version, at least, of the Gibson Les Paul Custom, which is often seen in Alpine white or in black. This is or was Alpine white. We'll talk about that in a second. So the Gibson Les Paul Custom made its debut in 1954 after the success of the Gold Top, and it's basically, the Gibson, I should say, is a Les Paul with all the bells and whistles, with your fancy binding, gold hardware, all kinds of stuff like that. So when you're looking at Gibson Les Pauls, the customs are the real high-end, high-value items. With the Epiphone versions, pretty much the same. It was, when I bought it, probably the most expensive and the best Les Paul that Epiphone made. So it's not quite comparable to kind of the budget Epiphone Les Pauls. It is a very well kitted out Les Paul. It might be the same now. Maybe a few signature things might be more expensive. And since kind of the big rebrand in 2020, I think Epiphone are making more expensive items. But it's as good as Epiphone made in 2014. That does not mean it's anywhere like a Gibson. And I'd had my eyes on one of these for many years. I always kind of wanted a white Les Paul. There wasn't a particular player that made me want this guitar. You know, you'd be familiar with a lot of people who used the white Les Pauls, Randy Rhoads or James Dean Bradfield or Justin Hawkins or countless others, being Jimmy Page with one as well. But I knew I wanted one. I'd go into guitar shops, or I'd look online and I'd look at these Epiphone Les Paul Customs, always Googling Les Paul Custom. And then when it came time to buy one, there was one hanging on the wall in my local guitar shop. It was this one. I went and said, can I try it? And I picked it up and it said on the headstock, Les Paul Custom Pro, which up to that point, it had never said Pro before. And right now in the catalog, it's back to Les Paul Custom. It doesn't say Les Paul Custom Pro. So let's very quickly, if I can talk quickly about it, mention what that is. So the Les Paul Custom Pro was a model that existed from 2012 to 2019. So there was a change in 2012. They moved to the Pro model and changed a few things on here. 2019, you could still get a Les Paul Custom Pro, and 2020, the big changes at Epiphone, it's now back to Les Paul Custom, but they've kept some of the things on here that they didn't have before. So I've done a bit of research into what the change is for. One of the things I read was that the machine heads were different. These are Grover machine heads, but having looked into Having looked into it before 2012, I think they were the same machine heads. The main thing I think that the Pro comes from is in 2012, Epiphone launched the Pro Booker humbuckers with humbucker pickups, which these are. So these are the Pro Booker 2 and a Pro Booker 3, the Epiphone version of Gibson Burst Bookers, which, remember them, they might appear on the channel in an upcoming video. So they kind of booted out the old kind of not very good stock Epiphone pickups, introduced these Pro Bookers, which everyone says are pretty good. They sound great to me. I've not done a huge big comparison with loads of pickups, but lots of people have. So I think that's mainly where the Pro comes from. But the other thing is like the switching options. So before 2012, you had your 2 humbuckers, neck position, middle, and bridge. Now we've got push-pull knobs, so we can bring out the bridge volume, and that coil taps this so it can be a single coil. We'll have a listen to it. Same with the neck pickup. You can pull that out, and then this will be a single coil. We'll listen to that. And also this neck tone part, if you pull that out, it does the out of phase Peter Green sort of tone, and we'll listen to that as well. Now I'm saying for these pickups it's coil tap. I know there's a lot of consternation over whether things should be called coil taps, coil splits. I've got the original sticker that came with it and the pick guard. Hang on. So when it came, it had the pick guard on, as so. I've got the little bracket somewhere as well. And these stickers around the pots, and it says coil tapping equipped. I don't know if you can make that out at all. So if you're getting annoyed at me for saying coil tap, that's what Epiphone called it at the time. So I'll refer to some notes. We'll talk through a bit of the spec before we get some tones. So it's a maple veneer on the top, which I think is something that the other Epiphones, it's a better, higher quality than the other Epiphones, I imagine. It's a mahogany body and a mahogany neck. We'll try and get some close-ups of the guitar as well. The neck is a slim tapered D profile with a satin finish. I always convince myself it's a chunky neck, but I think that's just down to the weight of the guitar. It isn't. It is actually quite slim. It's glued in neck. Its scale length is 24.75, like Les Pauls always are. As I say, we've got here Pro Booker 2 and a Pro Booker 3 are the pickups. 3-way pickup selector. The tip of my pickup selector is broken, but you know, I might get you a close-up of that. I can't be bothered fixing it. It's still hanging on. Push-pull switching, in and out of phase, Graphtec nut. And yeah, there's tons of binding on it. So this is kind of some of the upgrades that you find with the custom models, Gibson and Epiphone. Your Gibson Les Paul standard will have probably single ply binding around the front, and the custom, you've got like 6 ply or something like that around the front. It's around the back as well. It's also around the headstock, and you get like a single ply binding of the fingerboard as well, which is ebony and has got block inlays, including this one at the first fret, which customs always have. So I don't actually remember how much I paid for this. If you go on the Epiphone catalogue now and look at the Les Paul Custom, they're going for, I think, £609 in the UK. Oh yeah, just to mention what they've kept from the Pro model now. Obviously, it's still the Pro Bookers. I believe the latest model still has the push-pulls on the pickups, but I don't think it has the in and out of phase anymore. I think that's kind of all we need to talk about. Let's play a little bit and then we'll just talk about kind of the finish and things like that. We're back in my Blackstar HT Club 40 today. There are amps here. There is a solid state Vox AC30-ish thing. I don't know if you can see it. It's providing an amp stand to my Blackstar. But we're back through my amp. This is it's the gain channel. Let's do the clean channel. That's wrong. So, clean channel. Neck pickup. And middle position. And while we're on a clean setting, I'll demonstrate the coil tapping. It's not, so the single coils don't sound as good as the humbuckers do, but I would say that they are usable. So this used to be my number 2 guitar to my Jazzmaster, and if I was playing with all my settings of the Jazzmaster single coil pickups and I snapped a string, and then I grabbed this guitar, it would be incredibly overpowering and too loud for the settings. So for some of the funk stuff and soul stuff I used to do in my band, I would tap the pickups and it would get you through the gig. They sound okay. So let's do neck pickup in single coil mode. Just quickly humbucker and then single coil. And single coil bridge pickup. And let's do humbucker and then single coil. And a middle position with them both in single coil mode. So again, as an example, in my old band, if you know, we would do disco and things like that, if I was playing the Jazzmaster, I snapped a string, I grabbed this, and we would do good times, and it would sound like this. And it sounds really overpowering. Obviously, everything's set to 10 at the moment. Put it in single coil mode. So the strength of these pickups is in humbucking as they come. But if you need versatile tones, if you need to get through a gig, a few different sounds, it will do that. And I did gig this for many years until I got the Jag more recently. So yeah, if you're looking for outstanding single coil tones, buy something with single coils. But if you're looking at a Les Paul Custom Pro or the new one and wondering, will the single coil mode sound okay, get you through a gig? It definitely will. Okay, let's jump to my usual setting, which is the gain channel, but as clean as I can get it. Okay, everything back to normal, humbucker, etc. Bridge pickup, and this is as clean as I can get it to make a sound. Let's try the 1991 that we covered in the last video. Little boost with the Comfortably Plum. So you can get a great rock tone out of these pickups and, you know, a few pedals. Try a neck pickup, 1991. I always think I should rehearse something to play before I come and film these videos because I just go blank. So let's just quickly have a go at the Peter Green sort of sound. So everything on 10. I'll give it a little bit of... Give it a little bit of drive. If you don't know about the Peter Green mods sound, watch any one of 500 videos on YouTube. But basically, on his guitar, this pickup was flipped around. But the sound is having these two pickups on, but out of phase. So with both pickups on, as they should be. And if we pull this out and put them in out of phase, then that's the kind of out of phase sound. It also, the amp is getting louder. You can hear the hum. But a little tip is then to dial back one of the pickups ever so slightly. This is a tip I got from Greg Koch, actually. So from a video, I mean, I didn't meet him. So if we hit a note and then dial the bridge volume back by by one, you can almost hear, you can hear it change. Hear a little. So now the bridge pickup is on 9 and the neck pickup is on 10. So there's a bit of an out of phase sound. We'll try it just with the bridge at 10 and the neck at 9, see if it's any different. So again you can hear that change. If I just hit the note and then knock it back, it's really audible. It's a bit more bite now. So there you go. There's a bunch of the settings. I'll try and remember what else I need to play before the end of the video. But let's just talk quickly about the kind of the finish, the look of the guitar. So I will get some close-ups of it to put in the video here, and I'll try and get like a few pictures alongside an Epiphone Les Paul Custom and Alpine White as it comes out of the factory, and you can see the difference. But for now, I'll try and hold this a bit closer to B cam as well. So this guitar was Alpine White. It's sort of aged. It's aged in a way I really like, but it's sort of yellowed a bit. Now that is from UV and just sunlight and stuff. I don't smoke. I have played loads of gigs with it, but in the UK there's no smoking in venues. So although it's yellowed, it's not like nicotine, it's just UV light has aged, kind of the clear coat, I guess. So it's gone sort of, it's gone a bit yellow. It's no longer kind of bright white. But as I say, I'm okay with that. If you want one of these and you want it to stay spotlessly white, then whenever you're not playing it, it needs to stay in its case. I guess that's the only thing I'd say. And more kind of striking than that is it comes with all gold hardware. And again, hopefully there'll be close-ups, but I'll hold it near B cam anyway. Particularly on the pickups, let's have a look. You can see it most on the bridge pickup. All that gold has pretty much come off. The neck pickup, there's a little bit left, but it's all kind of fading away. On the tailpiece, it's still pretty gold, but you can see where it's wearing away. And on the Tune-o-matic, on the bridge, there's still quite a lot of gold on it, but like the saddles are now kind of nickel or silver or whatever. The tuning pegs, the machine heads, they're all still gold. So that, I think that's just going to come from playing the guitar. So if you do want one of these, you want it to stay spotlessly white, leave it in the case. If you want all the hardware to stay gold, then you just can't play it, basically. That will happen. But as I say, I'm pretty happy with it. I think it makes it a bit more kind of Randy Rhoads looking. A professional YouTube vlogger would have polished the guitar before today, maybe lubricated the fingerboard, changed the strings. I haven't, so it could look a bit cleaner and stuff. But there you go. That's what it was made in 2014. I think I must have bought it around 2015, something like that. I'm not entirely sure. So I've probably had it about 8 years. You can tell, again, maybe this will be a different camera shot. The sides haven't aged quite as much as the top, I think. And I'm not quite sure how well that'll come out. But they have still aged. And the other thing to mention on mine is when I took the pick guard off, I undid this screw to take it off, and a bit of the paintwork just fell off, which I could have kicked up a fuss about or got professionally fixed or whatever. But I just shoved a bit of glue in there and put the screw back in. So it's not the tidiest bit of work, but it didn't bother me really. And there's a tiny nick in the neck, but not much. So they are they're made to last, these things. Would I change anything? The headstock, Epiphone Les Paul owners will know what I'm talking about. We all hate the headstock. They have changed it since 2020 to be more like the Gibson one. But this kind of, it's the waist on it. It doesn't need to be there. And a lot of my guitars, I like to do little things, change pickups, change bridges. I've considered changing the pickups in this, but they're fine for now. There's nothing irritates me about them. I could change them for new gold ones, so it kind of pops a bit more, but I like the age on it. So I think that's everything to talk about the Les Paul. As I say, I can't remember how much I paid for it. I did get it an Epiphone hard case with it. I'll show you that super quick. It's pretty battered. So if you get an Epiphone hard case to go with your Les Paul, after 7 or 8 years of gigging, it will look a bit like this. It's a bit battered, but it does the job. Inside, check my plectrum. Sort of, it's that grey furry stuff. And in here, ooh, there's all kinds of strings. That's the kind of the bracket for the pick guard, so you can see how gold it all was at one stage. And I've got, there's gold strap buttons in there. These are the ones that came with the guitar, so I changed them out for strap locks, also gold. They're now just kind of rusted, but you'll get gold strap buttons. And there you go, that's everything. Strings, it's got 10s on it. I usually use Diodario 10s. A good friend of mine, Mike Smith, who I'm going to try and convince to come onto the channel, gave me a set of Kurt Mangan 10s. I don't know what the rest of the gauge was. I know it's 10s. So that's these. So I should normally have changed them by now, but they're lasting pretty well. And yeah, I like the tension of it. I like that you can play heavy stuff on it. I can play all the Metallica riffs I want on this. I can play, you can play that kind of funky stuff because you've got the single coil option. I guess it wouldn't be a video of mine if there wasn't a bit of Purple Rain in this. You've got that kind of tone as well. Let's turn it up. It's a bit bright. Just messing about now. Let's try a little bit of fuzz. Metallica fans, tell me what that song is. Okay, so I think that's it. We'll do a sign off over the top of a band next door to here playing. Thanks for watching. Thanks for showing an interest in the channel and in this guitar. Please like the video, just click the thumbs up, or if you want to type a comment, even if you want to just say my playing's crap, I know that, or subscribe. I need 3 more subscribers to get to 100. what a benchmark. If you enjoyed the videos, if you enjoy kind of this better setting than in my little box room, although there might be some of them coming, there's the link to an tip jar in the comments, and you can chuck me a few quid. I can pay to come into a studio and turn the amp up and stuff like that. But that's everything for now. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.